I'm taking a lot of criticism lately, and I suppose I expected this, in my not-so-subtle equation of, I won't say Islamophobia, but the tendency to single out one single group for a particular opprobrium, particular vilification with racism. The objection generally goes, look, we're not racists here. We don't have anything against black people or Chinese people or anyone regardless of their color. It's the ideology that we take exception to. I suppose that might actually apply to who knows what proportion of the people that are spouting the recent hate-filled claptrap, if you ask me, about Muslims, the sort of thing that has subtly become respectable in the last few years. But as a general rule, I don't buy that. If you single somebody out because of what they are, then in my books you're a racist. I know that that's not a very subtle point of view. I know that a lot of people would say that it's very unfair of me to characterize people that way. But if that's not racism, then I would have to say that neither is, say, anti-Semitism, because the Jews, if one assumes that such a thing exists, such a group exists, aren't a race at all either. They run the full gamut, from Nordic to Mediterranean to Middle Eastern looking. There's even hints that they might look actually more like Jackie Chan or Eddie Murphy in some cases. So, to me, that's racism. When you say, just because of the belief system that you grew up with, your culture, whatever, there's something wrong with you, that's racism. And I stand by that. Secondly, further to the video that I made yesterday concerning the subtle way that hate is becoming intellectually respectable. Again, I don't really want to go for proportions or say that the majority of atheists believe this, that, or the other, or the majority of anyone believes anything. But there is certainly a more strident voice for what I might call the intellectual bigots, or those of an intellectually bigoted bent. Now, I'm not talking about the guy that is a fanboy and just seeks out Muslims just to basically throw filth in their faces. That's not intellectual or anything. That's just someone using a higher purpose for the sole purpose of just I don't know, being offensive, I suppose. I'm talking about the people that actually have come up with fairly nuanced and seemingly well thought out arguments to justify what they see as their rage. I've had enough. I'm not going to take this anymore from this backward, retarded religion that is threatening or attempting to retard the rest of humanity. Now that's, if you ask me, the same thing on the same level as the spin that was fed to the German people slowly and in more subtle but more biting forms during the 1930s. And that was the road eventually that led to, well, we all know where that led. Joseph Goebbels said, it doesn't matter how repugnant the idea is. If you spin it correctly, you can get people to believe it. You can get people to even accept it on an intellectual, moral level. Mass murder. The most horrible ideas imaginable. Now again, Thunderfoot and even Pat Condell and Geert Wilders, I'm not going to accuse you people of being the thin edge of the Nazi wedge in the modern world. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. But it's just that this kind of thing makes me wonder where it's all going to lead. Because, as I say, it's becoming intellectually respectable to despise someone just because of their faith or because of the culture they come from. I would just ask that people think about that. I'm not telling anyone that they ought to shut their mouths. I'm not saying that action should be taken against anyone. I don't believe that at all. I would just ask that people approach this matter with a little bit more circumspection. Things have changed in the last 10, 20, 30 years. And the changes have not necessarily been for the better. Certain changes have been, but certain changes we seem to be going backwards. And the legitimization of rage and hate is certainly a step backwards. Thank you.